Every time YouTube makes an update to this platform, it is a signal for us as creators to get a better idea of where YouTube is going. What goals do they have? What are they trying to accomplish? How are they trying to craft this community and this platform? And those updates, those signals help us to craft better content that reaches more people, changes their lives, and grows our businesses all at the same time. And today, what I want to do is with the other strategists on my team, there's a whole bunch of new updates that came out from YouTube over the past few months, and we're going to look at some of those and give you our reactions because some of these are surprising to us. And like we kind of do a little face palm, we're like, YouTube, why? I don't get this. This doesn't make sense. We try to wrestle with like, okay, where is YouTube going with this? Why does this matter? Why are they providing these tools, these resources, this information, this new data and analytics? Like, what is this doing for us? And other ones were like, obviously, yes, right? So I'm really looking forward to diving into this conversation with my strategists here and with you as we all work together to reach more people, change their lives with the content that we're creating here on YouTube.
Welcome to the Video Creators Podcast. We help YouTube creators grow their audience and business with next-level tactics and strategies. Want to accelerate your channel's momentum, be more profitable, and change the lives of more people than ever before? You're in the right place. The Video Creators team has over a decade of experience providing YouTube strategy for brands like Disney, Warner Brothers, HBO, and even YouTube themselves. So far, our team is responsible for helping clients generate over 17 billion views on YouTube. And now, to help you, here's Tim, Lennon, and Delana.
Hello, creators. How are you guys? My name is Tim Schmoyer. It's great to hang out with you again for another Video Creators Podcast episode like we do here every Monday on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. We love just hanging out with you here and giving you the information that you need to be able to grow your YouTube channel, to reach more people, to change more lives, and grow that business that you're growing around it. We love specifically designing this type of content for people who have like a business mentality around what they're doing on YouTube. You got like an online course, or you're trying to be like a thought leader or establish your credibility or authority in this space in your niche on YouTube, and using this as a way to not only reach more people and change their lives, but also change your own life with the goals that you have for being here. Before we dive into all these updates and changes that are happening on YouTube and what they mean for us as creators, I first want to introduce you to Ingrid, one of the YouTube strategists on my team. She sat down with a former client of ours, Hannah, and Hannah, through working through our system, through our process, and she saw that 90% of the people were still watching at the end of her hook, her opening. Like, she only lost about 10% of her audience in that opening sequence. We'll talk to her, Ingrid, we'll talk with her about what she did there. And then she kept that retention high at around 60% of the people who click play were still watching by the end of her content. And it was making such a difference on her channel growth and in her community and how she grew. So Ingrid sat down with her to talk about how she did that and what that looked like, so that hopefully you can take some of the insights that Hannah has and do those on your channel as well.
The harsh reality is that there's no magic switch to instant YouTube growth. It's not just about learning what to do, but also how to apply that to your content. Then it's about analyzing the mountain of data that YouTube gives you so that you can not just adjust, but spot opportunities for growth. Honestly, it can feel overwhelming. Today, I'm chatting with Hannah from the YouTube channel Wife Without Kids. She's built a supportive space for her community, but wanted to connect on a deeper level. She wanted to bring in new viewers and create content that her audience actually wanted to watch and listen to. She recently spent 8 weeks with Luke and myself in Video Labs. Hannah immediately started applying the foundation blocks that she's learned, and she has seen immediate results. But don't just take my word for it. Let's talk to her.
Hello.
Welcome, Hannah. How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks. How about you?
I'm good. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got your start on YouTube.
Like most people, I watched a lot of YouTube, and I kept running across people that were like, if you watch a lot of YouTube, you should start a channel. And I kept hearing that over and over. And one day I was like, I've got a little free time on my hands and I'd like to challenge myself. And so I started a YouTube channel. I didn't really know what it was going to be about exactly, but I started a YouTube channel.
I love that. I love that. You've actually been on the platform now for 4 years. I would love to know what you kind of bumped up against as a creator growing a channel.
Well, I think when you don't really have an idea of what you want your channel to be about, if you don't really have a niche, you're going to bump up against a lot of things because you don't know who your audience is. And that's kind of how I started my channel. I thought, well, I love cleaning, so I'm going to make a channel all about cleaning my house. But I didn't want to show my face because I was really, I'm kind of shy and a little bit introverted. And so I would do these cleaning videos and I wouldn't show my face. And after doing a few of those, I thought, well, that's kind of boring. And so then I would kind of, go into a different tangent and do something different. So I was all over the place. And so I didn't grow very much very quickly.
Now, as you started to figure out what exactly you wanted to hone in on, what niche, what topic, did you struggle with anything there growing that topic?
Oh, for sure. Once I decided what my niche was, I had a more clear picture about what it is that I wanted to create for people, obviously. But there can be times where you're creating things and you think it's the most amazing video ever, and then like 10 people watch it and you're really discouraged. Or you've done a thumbnail and you think like, yeah, that's an amazing thumbnail. And then you check your click-through rate and like 5 people watch it. So you're like, oh, okay, maybe I don't know as much as I think I know, or I'm putting my efforts into the wrong areas in making my actual video.
Yeah, I can totally relate with that. Now, I would love to know your path into Video Labs. What prompted you to take the course?
I think it was a few things. I watched Tim's channel a lot, so I got a lot of his free stuff, and I always found that really valuable. And then he did a pitch for the 30 Days to a Better YouTube channel. And I think it was around Christmas time or near the end of the year when it went on sale. So I thought, oh, that's perfect. I'm going to go ahead and grab this. And so I went through that. It took me longer than 30 days, but I did go through that. And I started applying some of those principles and I saw some growth in my channel. And then after working on that for a bit, I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to pay for a one-on-one consultation because I'm kind of stuck. I feel like there's some areas where I'm really not seeing growth and I feel discouraged sometimes and challenged. And I knew there were things I wasn't doing right, or I wasn't focusing on the right aspects maybe of my channel. And so I wanted a little bit of feedback. And so I ended up scheduling that. And I had a session with Luke, actually.
I love that. I love that. And you just spent the last 8 weeks with us in Video Labs, and it's really been fun, honestly, for us to watch you take this newfound knowledge, these foundation blocks, and really kind of start to piece things together. I'd love to know what some of those aha moments were for you from that experience.
Well, you always hear people say you need a good title and thumbnail. And you know that intellectually, and you think that maybe that's what you're creating. But what I realized is one of my huge aha moments is that, some of my thumbnails, let's be honest, they suck. They're confusing. They weren't confusing to me until I studied other people's thumbnails that did a really good job at creating a story and enticing people to click. And then when I would look at those and I come back to my channel, I'm like, oh, I understand why people are confused because this really doesn't make a lot of sense. So it was a huge eye-opening moment to me. And titles as well. I tend to made these really long titles that got truncated with a lot of information in them. And I think part of the reason I did that was because my to maybe make up for my lack of a thumbnail making ability, maybe. So those were two things that right away I recognized these are some areas that really, really need work. And when I've applied some of the principles that I've been learning, my click-through rate is better and my watch time is improved. So, magic, I guess. not really magic, but yeah.
I like to think of it as hard work because you have worked really hard, and it's been fun even seeing you dig into storytelling and a couple other real strengths that you have put to use on your channel. I'd love to know what kind of an impact some of this has had on your content and your channel as a whole for you.
I've definitely seen some of my metrics improve. And that's, as a creator, I think that's really encouraging because when you go through Video Labs, it's a lot of information. It's a lot of good information, but it can feel a little bit overwhelming. So what I decided to do is I literally made myself a list. I love lists. I'm a huge list maker. And so I said, these are the areas that I feel like I need to start working on first. And so I started working on those areas first, like we talked about titles, thumbnails, and to have a hook at the beginning of your video. And I think that made a really big difference because before, at the 30-second mark, there was maybe 65, 70% of my audience still watching. And when I implemented having a short hook, not a long hook, I saw that skyrocket up into the 80, 85%. So as a creator, I mean, that's huge when you see that you're implementing these strategies and they're working. It's incredibly encouraging to be like, okay, what's next on my list? I want to implement something else and see that improvement.
I love that. I love that. And it is so true. And and if I'm correct, even one of your last videos, you even got up to 90% at the end of your hook. And that is truly something. It's been fun to see you just kind of stretch that new muscle and get those reps in for sure. So now that you're armed with all these new foundation blocks that set you up for success as a creator, what one thing would you say to a creator that is maybe struggling or looking to grow their channel or even their business on YouTube, just like you?
I would say, definitely consider Video Labs, because it's an investment of your time, but it is so worth it, because I feel like it gives you so many areas that you can dive into. And I think one of the areas that I like the most are analytics, because analytics, when you just look at them on your own, some people are really good at looking at something and figuring it all out on their own. I needed a little bit of help. And so Video Labs, I found, did a really good job at letting you know, okay, these are the analytics that you should focus on. And, if your click-through rate is 5%, try to get it to 6%. They were really good at honing in on the aspects of analytics that count, because sometimes I think there's a lot of people out there telling you a lot of things, and it can get really overwhelming and you don't know what you're supposed to be paying attention to. So that was a huge eye-opening moment for me, that these are the areas that you need to hone in on to get the results that you actually want to get.
I love that. And you're absolutely right. There is just a mountain of data and just so much information. And just like you said, it can feel very overwhelming. And as you know, as a creator can be a very lonely place. So it's nice to have a good solid space where you have an opportunity to get your questions answered, learn something new, apply that, and really kind of stretch those muscles in a new way. I love that. Hannah, I have to say, seeing your confidence grow in how to approach your YouTube strategy, taking all the tools that you've learned, putting those together to create a solid plan, a checklist, like you said, for yourself, has really been amazing to watch. You've done the work over the last several months, and I know you are already seeing the immediate impact with those results. Seriously, I said 90% at the end of a hook. That's crazy. I know that you're getting high 60% retentions in your videos. You are not just doing all that, but you're making a difference with your community. And you are truly reaching more people and changing their lives. I've linked Hannah's channel, Wife Without Kids, in the description below. Feeling confident in your YouTube strategy, learning to spot opportunities for growth, and demystifying YouTube is everything. Video Labs will help you get the answers to your questions. You'll learn in a supportive environment alongside peers. But most importantly, our team is also there to help you. You can find out more about Video Labs at videocreators.com/Video Labs, one word. You can also click the link in the description below. I'll see you in the next Video Labs.
All right, you guys ready? Ingrid, Delana, Luke?
Yes.
First of all, maybe before we dive into these 9 updates on YouTube and I get your reaction to them, why don't you just go through and introduce yourself real quick for people who might not be familiar with who each of you are. Is that good English? Who might not be familiar with you. There we go. Go ahead, Ingrid. You go first.
All right. I'm Ingrid Blackburn, and I am one of the strategists here at Video Creators. I love art, love YouTube, and love strategy. That's pretty much it. Pretty simple.
Live in North Carolina, have a brand new patio you're hanging out on.
Well, it's not really that new, although we do get to use it now for the full summer, which makes me really excited. So
nice. Yeah. Cool. Delana, people should know you, but just in case.
In case you're new around here, I'm Delana. I am another one of the strategists on the Video Creators team. I live in Texas with my 3 cats and 1 husband. And yeah, that's me.
You say 3 cats, but you have like a herd of cats, kind of, right?
Yeah. Who was it somebody on our team or did somebody else say it to me that they were like, are you growing catnip in your yard or
No, that was
something?
Dana, my wife. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's true. We feed the stray cats outside and we just slowly adopt all of them. So
it's like a soup kitchen, but for cats.
yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
And Luke?
Hi, I'm Luke. I'm in Texas near the Dallas, well, I guess in the Dallas area, near Dallas. And I'm one of the strategists on the team. And where I spend a lot of my time is within consultations and video labs. I am an interactive person, so I like answering questions and like giving people feedback and just helping people strategize what they're doing on YouTube.
Yeah. And you've been around the podcast in a little bit here, a few other episodes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for people who don't know, do you want to share your news?
Oh, yeah. I don't mind doing that at all. Yeah. So I'm Luke and I'm on my way out. So see you guys. Good to meet you. No, I've been with the company for a little over a year now, but I've recently been offered a position at a company that my father-in-law runs. And so he pursued me pretty heavily, and it wasn't an easy decision to make because I really love video creators. But here in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be transitioning away from video creators and get back into where I think my interactive talents are probably going to be put to best use. Actually dealing with customers, not from just behind a camera, but actually getting to work with people one-on-one. So it's been a really, really cool position to be in here. But I guess I should say I'm on my way out, but it's kind of sad, but really happy at the same time because it's a good opportunity.
It is a great opportunity for you and to work with family and things. I think it's great. We're going to miss you. We'll be sad that you're gone, but yeah, it's a good opportunity for you. And we'll start hunting for a replacement for you here sometime soon and see what happens there. All right. You guys ready to dive in? So I was just catching up on all the news that's happening on YouTube, and I've got 9 different updates. Some of them you might have already heard of and be familiar with. Some of them you might not be familiar with. In fact, some of them I know you're not familiar with, unless, in fact, prove me wrong, actually, because I don't want to say that I know you're not, but that sounds arrogant when I say that. But I think some of these will be good discussions here. So number one, you guys can find the links to all these in the show notes if you want to dive into any of these updates with us and see more information about them. Number one, have you guys ever used? You guys know what picture-in-picture is, like on TV? You guys remember what that is? It's like old school thing. Mm-hmm. Okay, someone explain to Delana what it is.
That's so you could watch something else on another channel while commercials were playing, and then when your program came back on, to toggle back over to the original channel.
Yeah. Or if you wanted to watch like 2 games at once type of thing, something like that. Yeah. So YouTube TV came out a few weeks ago with a picture-in-picture update. Do any of you guys subscribe to YouTube TV or just me? Just me? Okay.
I've been on the fence.
Yeah,
we subscribe to it. And so basically what I can do now is while I'm watching YouTube TV is I could be watching one program and then I can swipe up on the app and then the video just floats on top of my screen. And I can move the video to wherever I want on my screen and then open up other apps and do other things while the show continues to play in front of me on my screen. Right. So I think that's pretty cool because it's not out for YouTube yet, but they are working on releasing that for premium and non-premium users alike, where you can have a video playing in a corner of your iOS device while doing something else. Now, I think that's already been a thing on Android, and I don't mean this as a diss to the Android people.
I knew this was coming.
I'm sitting here going, I've been using this for like a year.
I know. However, from what I read, and I don't have an Android device, it sounds to me like this is way smoother and than on Android devices. So I thought I'd just throw that out there. Everyone is like, it works way better on iOS and Android. Now I have been using it on the regular. I'm not sure how I got not grandfathered in, but like access to it or whatever. But I must be one of the people they're testing it with on my device, and I do use it a lot. Usually if I'm watching another video, but I still want to play a game while I kind of watch, but mostly listen, it's kind of like in between just listening and just watching. It's like having it be in a corner. I can float it to different corners and still play the game, or sometimes I have the video playing while I'm catching up on news articles or something like that. So it makes multitasking a little bit easier. Do you guys have any opinions or thoughts on how that product might change strategy? And what that might mean for creators and clients? Is that something that we need to consider, or like, no, business as normal, as usual?
I think it's business as usual, honestly. I do that a lot with Netflix because Netflix has that feature. So I'll just I know what you're talking about, where you can watch it while you do other things. So I feel like YouTube is kind of catching up in that regard. And yeah, I think for the most part, it's going to be business as usual. I think that'll be super beneficial for creators that have video podcasts on YouTube.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. I'm holding up to my phone up to my screen right now. If you're listening can't see it, but I'll try to describe it. I have a video playing, and all I got to do is just swipe up on the bottom and see how the video now pops up in a different window. I can go to different apps. I can drag it. I can move it around my screen. I can do other things on my iOS device while I can still use listening controls. I can exit out and just be done, or I can tap the corner. It goes right back into YouTube mode like that. Right. So,
yeah, that's exactly how I've been using it, and it's generally longer form content. It's not. I don't
exactly. That's
obviously with shorter videos. So, but for things that are getting more towards that hour mark, it's been actually very helpful for me. I've been able to really just kind of do whatever I need to do on my phone, and then still tune in.
Yeah, the long form content I think is where it's gonna like content like this, where we're most of the value here is in the audio, but we'll put it on YouTube and that's why we record the video version too, just so that it's something for YouTube. But most people who are even watching this on YouTube, and in fact, if you're watching this on YouTube, comment if you have this in a background tab right now or minimized, or off in a separate a little corner of the screen while you're, our faces don't demand that much attention. Is mostly the audio you're getting here, right?
My face demands a lot of attention. Just for
that haircut does. That new haircut. It's looking sick, man. All right, number 2. This is something that I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. So this won't be a surprise, I don't think, to us, but depending on how people think about search on YouTube, this might be a surprise. On Google search, they introduced a new feature called multi-search. And what multi-search is that combines text and images together for search. So it's an AI that, let's say you're looking, Delana, you're shopping for a new dress, right? And you're in the store and you're like, "Ooh, I really like that dress, but I wish it had a different style and a different color or something." Does someone make that? That would be really hard for you to describe as a text query inside of Google to figure out. But if you could take a picture of the dress and search for that based on that image, and it'll scan the dress and figure out, oh, this is the fashion you're looking for. And then you add the text purple to it instead of yellow, maybe. And then it'd be like, oh, I want this style dress, but in purple. And now you get search results based on that photo and text combined. So does that make sense? First of all? Okay. Yep. So I think this is pretty fascinating because I think this could have an impact on video search, which literally contains somewhere between 15 to hundreds of images per second of content, right? So I think it's interesting on one level. One, that the AI exists where you can take a picture, a photo of something and combine it with text and get better results than you could have before for things that you didn't even know how to put words to in order to do the search. But I'm curious to hear from you guys as you think about what type of impact, knowing that this type of artificial intelligence now exists and is being used for search, what type of impact do you feel like that could have on YouTube if that technology was brought over to the video space?
What do you think people would search for that would produce results that you're getting excited about?
Well, I'm thinking, for example, it wouldn't just be like, here's another place you could buy the dress, but it could be like, here's a whole bunch of fashion reviews of this dress, or people wearing it at different sizes. You can see what it actually looks like on someone.
Yep.
It could be, what is this? Maybe it's not a dress. Maybe it's a technology device, and you want to see what would this thing look like hanging up on my wall. And there's already augmented reality that will let you kind of do some of those things, but you could see it on other people's walls and go straight to a video of it because people are taking a picture saying, I want more of this. And that right now they're just showing you other images. But I feel like that could be that those types of search results could be quickly associated with video as well. And I think it just goes along to confirm what we've kind of our perspective on search. Yeah, you go ahead and say, I've been talking enough. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I just hope that this finally will help creators know that keywords research and all, like keywords don't matter in your titles, and they're going to matter even less with this type of stuff because all of the search is based off of just the AI scanning the images. And so I personally think we're probably still a good 5, maybe 10 years before people fully leave the keyword things behind.
Really, that long? Wow.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I think that I'm excited for it because of that reason. Like it'll help creators to even more so have more of a reason to not focus on keywords. Like, okay, I just need to make good content. That's it.
Well, and I was thinking of a lot of the how-to niche, and being able to really put a lot of this stuff into practical use, and you're interested in a product and then boom, all of a sudden AI knows, well, here, let me show you exactly what you can do with that. Here's a video and serves it right up to you because it's all based on what humans do. So,
and I think it's really cool in that, like, what if I wanted to go with the dress example? There's a lot of times you want to search for something, but you don't know what it's called. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so it's like, let's say I have this dress and I love the dress. I love how it was made, blah, 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 blah. I want to find out what brand it was from. And I have no idea because the tags fell off, or I bought it from a thrift store and never got the tag. So So then I take a picture of the dress and then I find it and then I find out somebody who did a review on it. They tell me the brand. Now I get to go shop for the brand. So I think it's really cool for users in that regard and for creators because now they're gaining so many more search inquiries from that they wouldn't have otherwise ever gotten had this AI not existed.
I have a solar paneled electric fence charger for some of our animals, and it's not working. And I'm thinking of this of like, because I open that thing up, I don't know what I'm looking at. It's just wires and circuit boards and stuff. So, but I think I know like this is the part, but I have no idea what this like what this part is. I think I know what part is the culprit. But I have no idea what to search for. So if I could just take a picture of that and then get introduced to a video of like, here's the part and how you change it or fix it, I'm like, boom. Yes. Give me more of that. Yeah. So, okay. So I get a little excited here because that charger is driving me crazy. I'll get it fixed though, eventually. All right. story number 3 here is, this isn't really an announcement that was made by, this is more of another Google announcement, but I think watching not the announcements, this is more of something Google recently said that I think, can help us better understand how they think about search and how that impacts what we're doing on YouTube as well, although the correlation isn't directly 1-to-1. But I think this was interesting. You guys, I don't know if you've been watching too much of the Russia-Ukraine conflict stuff on YouTube. Ingrid, you have?
I have.
Luke, you have?
I have, yeah.
I have been as well. And I've noticed that some of the videos I've been clicking on and watching are like more automated type of videos, in the sense of like, it's not, I can tell it's a robot talking, like narrating something, and just a bunch of B-roll that was kind of in an automated fashion stitched together. But it still's getting millions of views because the story is still good and I'm still watching. I'm getting the thing that I need, and that the whatever. And there's a few different ones out there, but that the system that they're using to automatically create newsworthy stories very quickly. Because if you got to get someone in front of a camera, you got to plan it, you got to edit it. That reduces the amount of time until you're like first to YouTube with that time sensitive information and story, right?
Yeah.
And so I haven't been turned off too much by those types of videos. However, Google is buckled down. I don't know if that's the right word, but they're like, there's a lot of news agencies and people that are creating content with AIs, artificial intelligence. And they're saying that no matter how convincingly human that type of content might seem, they are classifying it as spam, which is interesting to me, because I was kind of thinking that YouTube didn't really care as long as it was providing value and viewer satisfaction was high and people were watching. And, so why would it matter if it's AI? And it seems like the reason is, this is what they says. There's simply no way to verify the efficacy of an AI generated report unless you have capable journalists fact checking everything the AI asserts. Due diligence comes down to human responsibility, and Google does not allow many publishers to use AI generated summaries of new articles. Oh no, Google does allow many publishers to use AI generated summaries of news articles and AI aggregators to push posts, but it cannot be content that is generated by AI. So I'm kind of curious if you guys think about that. Is it okay if, as long as the content serves people and I'm watching it and I'm getting what I want, like, does it matter if an AI made it? Or is it like, no, that's considered spam because an AI report on news stuff like that really needs to have a human involved? Curious to hear what you guys think.
I lean towards the human because of, I don't think that means that it's not going to happen. But honestly, my first thought in that was, I was like, okay, if AI is putting this together, what is the AI getting its information from? And because a lot of times, like, it'll take like the things that people are most responding to and put them all together. And so I'm like, is that going to give an accurate news story, or is it just going to give the most interesting story?
Yeah, and elicit the most reactions and signals from people that cause that content to perform now the best, although it might not be the most accurate. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, I was thinking, if everything's based off humans, right? That's the goal, is for the AI to think like a human. So, I don't know. I think you have to, things that give those positive viewer signals. I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. It doesn't bother me.
I think the human accountability is necessary, because if you train a program to teach itself, it's hard to design ethics in a program. And I think that YouTube, because they focus so much on the user's behavior, that human element, I think it's crucial to keep that involved, because you don't want to mimic artificially stimulated results from content. The whole point in creating content is to get in front of people and present something that's of value, right? And if that's just being generated by something smart, I'm not a big fan of that. But I get mad at the toaster when it doesn't do what I want it to either. So
I also,
does that happen often for you?
Not too many times. But hey, listen, when it gets out of control, it's time to take a stand,
I also think that, and this isn't really like a critique of the AI itself, but it's more just like I don't like that creators are being replaced.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the other aspect of it is if
Like,
a computer can do.
Yeah, even if the content is good, let's say that the content was perfect, it was good, it was accurate, everything in between. Just the fact that like creators, that's less of an opportunity for them. I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Unless
And
they
feel like it goes against what I'm fighting words, but I feel like it goes against a lot of YouTube's own values of what they support and why they started the platform.
Yeah, I don't think this applies to too many of our listeners, but I have done a few consultations with people in the past who are growing channels primarily based on AI generated content. And they tend to be news channels, but not always. One of them was a kids channel that was, and this is a little bit different, but they were using an artificial intelligence to take one video and cut it like 110 different ways and publish it, all of them, to see which one of the ones performed the best, right? And that's a little different. That's not as much AI as much as that is a content farm, is how YouTube classifies that, as someone who's just spitting out tons of duplicate content and just to kind of hope that something hits, right? So that still is considered spam. That's more clearly considered spam. But I thought it was interesting that they're saying, no, a person needs to be involved in this process in order for us for this to not be at risk of being taken down.
Yeah.
Now, what would be interesting is if from the data that AI produces, if that ensured, because I know currently there are extensions and add-ons for browsers that allow you to see the value of keywords, not to get into that discussion or anything like that, but like it could be something that when you see how humans interact with content and you can tried and true, you've got a formula to put in and go, how can this perform? That could be advantageous as long as it lines up with YouTube's viewer signals, which are based on that human element. Yeah. And so it could be a cool thing as far as trying to understand what's effective at some point.
Yep. All right, let's go through a couple. I think the next few here will be relatively quick and short. I don't know that we'll have, I think we'll be like, that's nice, YouTube. Next, but just in case I'm wrong, so YouTube Shorts creators will now be able to use 1 to 5 second segments of any video with the Shorts sampling option enabled. So when you upload a video or edit an older video, you can opt into having your video being resampled and remixed into other people's content. And so this is an update, since previously you could only use a segment of audio clips, or the only thing could be sampled, but now you can do video as well in Shorts. So it'll be first available on iOS devices. Just throwing that in there. I'm sorry, Ingrid. It wouldn't be nearly as fun if you switched to. I hope you never switch to Apple's ecosystem, because this won't be nearly as
ever crossing that line.
Because this won't be nearly as fun if you do. But
you're going to start to see PC messages all around me constantly every day. I'm going to change it.
Okay, I'm going to have to stop watching. But so first on iOS and then on Android devices, they said later this year. And kind of along with that, and I don't think this is like a major announcement, because I'm like, hasn't it been like this for a little while? But like the Shorts video player is now available on desktop and mobile browsers and on tablets. I think I've been using it on desktop for a while now, haven't I?
Yeah.
I
don't really like it as much on desktop.
No,
Sorry.
It's just a really big blown up version. Yeah. You're like, wow, that's a big portrait video.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Number 5, a new channel permissions now. If you're using the what's it called? Studio permissions for your channel. A new one that they've added is called subtitle editor role. And that lets you give access on your channel for assistance in adding subtitles without giving access to any other settings or information on your channel. So really love what YouTube's doing with how granular some of these permission settings are getting with studio permissions. However, last week I had to go back to brand. What's it called?
Brand
the
account.
Google brand. Thank you. Yeah, brand account managers, which is only like what's it? It's owner, it's manager, and it's like a communication level. Like that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like access to everything or almost nothing is what those. But so far in the permissions that on the studio permissions for your channel, they don't let people. No one can, unless you're a manager under a brand account, you still can't edit playlists and you can't access the community tab. And so with Stephanie, my producer, I'm like, yeah, I want you to post these things on the community tab. And I want and she needs to make new playlists and change playlists based on other content we're publishing and things. And she can't. So I was like, I'm sorry, that's a deal breaker. I got to go back to brand account stuff. So I did, but I do like the direction that the studio permissions is going, and that they're still updating and adding more permission levels there. So
yeah, I totally agree with you there, because I feel like, as channels and creators start to scale, those are like those things that you could very easily hand off to somebody. And the fact that you can't do that kind of feels counterproductive. Mm-hmm. So I don't really understand what's taken them so long to be able to get those things in place. Are you listening, YouTube? Come on, get with the program.
They do listen. I get emails from YouTube employees sometimes telling me thank you for saying it this way and promoting that and things like that.
Are those real YouTube employees, or are those AI messages?
Yeah. Well, I've met some of them in person, so I think they're real. It could be some sort of Star Trek type thing going on here, maybe, but. For anyone who's not familiar with what channel permissions are, Delina, you want to bring them up to speed?
Channel permissions, where you can, channel permissions are just where you can give someone access to your channel of multiple different levels. So if you're under like YouTube studio permissions, it's manager, or no, there's owner, manager,
editor.
What's the other one? Editor, thank you. And then viewer. There might be one on top of that.
And then there's limited ones where you can't see.
Limited. The editor is just like, they can still go in and edit and upload content, but they can't be signed in as that account and be watching YouTube videos on that account. And whereas a manager or an owner could like actually be signed in as that account and browse YouTube and stuff like that. A viewer is just, I can go in and I can view everything. This is actually the permissions we request from our clients, because I can go in and I can view everything, but I can't add, alter, or delete any content. So that's usually the most safe. If somebody doesn't need to be uploading things for you, then viewer access is really good. Limited, I'm not quite sure. I've never played with that one. Do you know what limited is?
I think the main difference, though, is who can see like monetary things too. Because you don't really want, because at the viewer level you can still see like AdSense, but at low levels below that you can't. And when you start to scale your team, that's kind of some information that you might want to keep private.
Yeah.
Yep.
It makes sense.
Cool. All right. This next one, my voice cracked a little bit.
Real nervous about that one.
Hitting puberty here again, guys. I am really curious to hear what all of you have to say about this one.
This
have you guys?
Is gonna be good.
Yeah. Have you guys seen the new research tab that YouTube is rolling out by the end of April?
I'm really excited about this one.
All right. Why don't you explain to us what this is, Ingrid?
I don't know it completely because I don't have full access to it, but I love that you can do keyword research and that kind of stuff on your audience, right?
This is I feel conflicted. Before I get into my feelings about this, I see Luke making the face like, what?
That's pretty interesting. I know.
I know. Yeah. Okay. So why don't you first just summarize what it is Ingrid, that YouTube is rolling out here across.
Go ahead, Ingrid.
Oh, you don't?
Give us the
Okay,
report.
I can do it. Basically, you go to your analytics. You have these tabs at the top of your analytics, and they're adding a new tab called Research. And this tab is a new feature for planning content, and it helps you explore what other people are searching for on YouTube, and gives you a whole bunch of insights into what they're calling content gaps, which is like, here's a search query on YouTube. Here's how much search volume it has, and is there a gap here in like an opportunity here in this content? So you can see specifically what your viewers are searching for on, I mean, not just like general, kind of like what we get today, but this is like of the people who are watching your channel. Here's like content gaps that you either have on your channel or that are out there that you could, that of what your audience is looking for. It's not so it's not generic across all of YouTube. And then so you can see what some of those searches are. And then you can also see like what keywords are being used in your own, doing some of your own research with your ideas that you have that you want to make. So you can look at your viewer searches, or you can just look at searches across YouTube based on like topic. And then you can save some of these searches as well. You can filter some of the results here based on like content gaps here, based on the language they speak, based on the country the viewer is in. There's a lot of really interesting things here where you can be like, okay, the competition here is high, medium, and low. So I'm looking for this low competition with maybe what YouTube's identified as a content gap. You can filter out, I only want to see where content gaps are. Filter. It's kind of like interesting to me that YouTube is providing this information for the purpose of making content. So I got opinions, but I don't hear yours first.
Well, why wouldn't they? Like, YouTube for years has been relying on creators to get people onto their platform. So this is a really practical and useful tool to understand where that low content could be on a channel for a creator. I think it's really exciting.
I think there's a lot of opportunity, and anytime YouTube wants to give me more information, actual data about my audience and the things that they are doing or watching in those terms, I'm all for that. However, I still don't feel like that should drive everything. I think that it can be a useful tool, but I still think that you really have to stay true to a lot of the things that you want to put out in your content, the things that you have crafted around your target audience, and the things that you have. I mean, there's a lot of other cool things that they have going out that are a little bit more human-based signals that I'm hoping is on this list. There's a couple things. But I think that really carries a lot of weight. I think this is a great tool. I don't think it's the end-all be-all. So
yeah, that's actually what I was gonna say. Is I was like, I'm not that excited about it, to be honest. I think that the whole keyword research of, high, mid, low results and where the content gaps are, I'm worried, and I just know that so many creators are going to go to that, and they're going to be like, this runs my channel.
Exactly.
This tells me what content to make.
Concern. Yeah.
And I don't like that, because our client Anthony Yoon, who made Plastic Surgeon Reacts to, got millions and millions. What is it, 8 million views or something like that right now? That would have never showed up in those results, and so nobody would have even searched for those things. And so I think what Ingrid said, but like emphasized in the sense of like, it should have this much weight in what you decide to do. Very little. Oh yeah, sorry. I have visual signals over here. Very little.
Love the hand signals, but the audio people need some help.
I think something to add to this is, I do think it's exciting, but this trap is very clear. And the trap is going to be very similar to the one that I see with creators who go, well, when I ask, hey, who is your target audience? And they go, well, analytics tells me. And I'm like, listen, you should be cultivating your own target audience because of a unique value proposition and understanding who they are. And so while I am excited about it for the people that have problems brainstorming and for people who have maybe a hard time really defining what their audience is really into, that can yield some helpful and useful information that I do think is practical. I won't back down from that. But that trap still exists. And if you're going to be a slave to analysis, that's not authentic content creation.
I think it's going to be so hard to like help people keep this tool in its proper place.
Yes.
I think it's valuable. I think it's great information. I think there's lessons to be learned here and good ideas we can get. But I've just seen that the propensity of many creators is just so driven by keywords and search that this feels like it's going to put them down that path even more. Yeah. And I'm a little bit surprised because I know that YouTube, having worked on YouTube with some other analytic releases in the past, one of the questions that they do ask internally is, okay, we could release this information and it could be valuable to people, but what impact would it have? How would people actually use this information? And sometimes, like I remember when we were working on the impressions and click-through rates analytics that came out, that we were really the main question that we were really thinking of is like, okay, is this going to cause people to now resort back to clickbait? And because people tend to get really hyper focused on like one thing, and maybe in this case it is just on titles and thumbnails, and now people are just measuring impressions and click-through rates, and not. So we tried to, or we, as if I had everything to do with this, but YouTube tried to then like visualize that in terms of like the funnel that's on your dashboard and analytics, which is like it's impressions to click-through rates to views and watch time to that whole funnel, like try to make sure everyone understood this is part of a viewing funnel and not just like an isolated metric. So I think they mitigated some of that with that metric, with that funnel. But this is like a standalone tab and it's just focused on search. And it just makes me feel like, come on, like guys, think bigger.
I just think that it just needs to come with a warning. Well,
there's not one on there right now.
I know, but hopefully, the more creators listen to us, because I think there's not a lot of us out there that talk about how, keywords, optimize for humans, not robots. Really keywords, they have their place in topic ideation, but you can't rule a channel like that. If you drive your content by that, it's I think that crafting for humans is just a way better way to go. But again, I am totally open to YouTube giving me information and data on my audience. That's my biggest takeaway from that. Yeah. It's information I didn't have before.
Number 7, guys, this one might not be a huge deal to you guys in terms of what we do with creators and what creators need, but channel guidelines, they rolled this out a little while ago, but it's going out to more and more channels where you can set rules for how you expect people to behave on your channel. And before someone makes their very first comment on your channel, they will have to agree to these rules, to these community guidelines on your channel, and they only accept it once, and then they can go in and comment. So it's just kind of like some communities on YouTube get a lot of hate, they get a lot of backlash, they get a lot of like whatever. And so this is a way for the creator to have a little bit of a voice here and say like, this is not tolerated here. If this happens, these are the rules, and this is what happens. If you do this, there's this infraction, these are the consequences. Or people just use it, be like, hey guys, be nice, be friendly. So it kind of gives people a heads up that if you engage like this, your comment will be deleted. And so people hopefully don't put as much time into making nasty comments or, things like that. So the main update here is that it's being rolled out more broadly. Do you guys have any thoughts or reactions to that one?
I mean, from a community standpoint, I think that's kind of cool. It reminds me kind of like of Facebook and groups, like they have like their little rules and stuff that you got to accept prior to. But I think that's kind of cool because at least, if you're trying to set a positive precedent or whatever for your channel, I think it's a cool thing.
Yep. I have it enabled on our channel. I don't remember what my rules are though. actually. I did it a while ago. If you want to find this on your channel, you go to your studio on the left sidebar. You click on settings down at the bottom, and then settings window that pops up. There's in the left sidebar, there's community, and then after you click on community and the tabs at the top, there's channel guidelines. So you can add 3 guidelines people must acknowledge before they try to comment or participate in a live chat for the first time. And so I have a welcome message that says, I love it when people like you share your thoughts with the community here. And then my guidelines are pretty simple. Questions and feedback are welcome. Bring them on. Number 2, no self-promotion or spam, including sub for sub or mass replies. And number 3, be civil and respectful. Everyone here deserves it. So pretty simple, what mine are anyway. Number 8 is, this one annoys me a little bit, guys. And I think I'm one of the few people that annoys because as YouTube strategists, we're probably the person who uses this feature more than most people do in general on YouTube. So I get it. But there's, so I love part of this and I hate part of it. The part that I don't like is, you know how you go to someone's channel, click on videos, and you can see all their recent videos in reverse chronological order right there, right? And then over to the right, there's a drop down menu that you can sort based on how many views the video has. You can go newest to oldest or oldest to newest, right? Mm-hmm. They're getting rid of the oldest to newest one.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just
That's
me.
frustrating.
It's not just you. And it's not just because I'm a strategist.
I always use it just to like when I'm before I get into a session with someone, I'm making my notes and prepping for that consultation. I often will sort by oldest just to see like, how did this channel start? What's the story here? And get to try to understand the creator a little bit better. And I find that that's pretty valuable sometimes. But
for me as just a viewer, just finding a channel, and especially if they've been on the platform for say a decade, there can be a lot of videos. And I know YouTube says that you can just keep scrolling, but after a while, and maybe this is just my PC and my Android products. I'm saying it before
your system's gonna bog down, doesn't it?
It stops and I can't go. And I actually like to sometimes see where somebody's come from, where they started, because that's like raw and just real. And, that's where people are learning. And and sometimes people kind of shift. And I just think if I'm going to become part of a community, why shouldn't I get access to everything? And if I can't scroll to get there, or if it's going to take me a year to get there, give me a little shortcut to get there.
Exactly. What they are adding though, because we've been saying this and I kind of like saying that I've been saying this and here it is, right? So is that YouTube's been working really hard to try to figure out how to layer normal on-demand videos with shorts and live streams and audio first content, all on AKA podcasts, all on one channel, and have them all live together, as opposed to what people have been doing, which is creating a shorts channel, creating a live channel, creating different channels based on the style of content. And I know YouTube's been working really hard to try to make it so that a brand could all just be in one place, but people could still get the type of content that they just want. And so this is a step in that direction. It's not the full solution, but it's a step in the direction that they have new filters where you can filter out and see only the on-demand videos, or you can see only their shorts or only their live streams. So if you want to filter out the other content, you can see just shorts, you can see just live, you can see just videos. And I think soon, hopefully, I don't know this, I'm hoping that there will be audio first content would be a filter in there as well, especially for people like us who put content like this on YouTube, longer form audio first content. So I think it's an indication that this is going the right direction, and hopefully we can see more solutions like this coming out. But any reaction to that one from you guys?
I just don't understand the purpose of removing the old to new sort. I don't. Why? That seems like, I don't know. They put someone on that task for, I don't know. For why? It feels like wasted money to me. Everybody was enjoying that feature for the people that used it, and it wasn't hurting anyone else. So just let it live. Let it live.
I don't know.
But I am excited for the the filters of the shorts versus live. I really want them to also have a podcast one on top of that. So, and I think it would be cool if creators could like check a box or something to select that like this is meant to be a video podcast whenever they're uploading it, so that YouTube knows that it's not just a long on-demand video, it's a video podcast.
I mean, they can figure that out too, just based on like, hey, it's the same 4 people on the screen for an hour, just, and they're not really moving. Sometimes they blink,
Yeah, I'm sure that they can figure it out, but yeah.
But to specifically classify it, like kind of the way they do like YouTube Shorts. If you upload it from the YouTube Shorts app, you get, in the app, you get a special badge on there. But if you just upload it as a short directly, you don't have the Shorts badge. Now they still put it in Shorts, but it doesn't get that badge for some reason.
Yeah. And as great as YouTube AI is, it's not perfect. And so I'm sure that there will be podcast episodes that don't get marked as podcast episodes when they are. Now that'll be the few and far between. I don't want to say all of that, and then everybody's concerned about like, oh, my podcasts are not going to be recognized. It's few and far between that would happen. But even so, I think it'd just be easier. Just make sure it happens every time. Let us check a box, or select something.
Check a box or a hashtag podcast, kind of like there's the hashtag shorts. I mean, something. And I think that they'll, if they, and sounds like they will incorporate that, then they'll probably have to leverage what kind of ads they run for what kind of content, right? So for people that are seeing ads and specified video content, that's probably going to be a different pitch for advertisers than ads that come across on audio, because then it'll be more like a podcast ad, and probably have different weights of value when it comes to views and retention and things like that. So we'll just have to see how it plays out.
Yep. Number 9 here, last one. So last year, YouTube started experimenting with this thing called timed comments, which are comments that pop up at a specific point in the video. And it wasn't on all videos, it was just for some videos. And the idea was like, there's conversations happening around this part of the video and other conversations happening around this other part of the video. Can we time comments so that everyone who wants to talk about this point in the video is having that conversation versus something else? So this sounds like a new thing, but it was actually on a platform called Vidler. Before YouTube.com was even a thing, right? So prior to YouTube days, I don't know if you guys remember back that far, Vidler was one of that, and Vimeo, some of these other early platforms. That's how it worked. It was a little clunky, but it was a thing. And I did always kind of miss that. So I'm glad that that's coming back. However, or at least they're testing it. However, they're trying something different now with this, and YouTube is expanding it not to be just comments, but to include emoji reactions. These are called timed reactions, and they're now available on some videos, not everyone's channel, not all videos, but it's an experiment that they're running. And you get a few different emojis to select from, kind of just like on Facebook. You get a crying emoji, a laughing emoji, a heart, a 100, and a shocked cat face. Just for you, Dylan, right? so
they made that one for me.
Yeah. So if you're watching a video that is a part of this experiment, they say this is on a forum post they made on their support forums. You can react and see crowd reactions by opening the comment section of the video and tapping into the reaction panel. And they say the test will also show you which moments other viewers are reacting to, which will be anonymized. So we won't show who sent which reaction. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. Is this just another thing that is like, hey, you know what people really need? They need to use emojis more when they watch videos. And people they're just not active enough when they're watching videos. We need to give them more things to tap on while they're watching.
It's got a great spot nestled next to the go ahead, like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, and all those other reactions that creators ask their viewers to do all the time.
And make sure you do the heart emoji at 3 minutes, 45 seconds, right 6 minutes.
Yeah. Stay tuned to this video at 3 minutes and 46 seconds. I want everyone to have a shocked cat.
So I think that this is actually a really good way for YouTube to start collecting emotional signals about the video people are watching?
Or is
Yeah. So
or,
that
Yeah.
or are the laugh reacts going to eventually be categorized as dislikes? Because people tend to mock each other on the internet, and the reason they removed the viewed dislikes is because they felt like that was, in some ways a personal attack against creators. And I appreciate that they want to protect that, but how is laugh reactions going to be different? If people think that it's poorly created content or a bad take or anything like that, like that's feedback that I think people are going to struggle with in a similar way. Does it?
Yeah,
I get it. It can provide some emotional feedback, but will it stand the test of time?
These are all emotional in the sense that none of them are critical. You either are agreeing, loving, laughing, surprised, or crying with empathy, presumably, right? So there's no like thumbs down. There's no, fist, type of thing here. But
Not that angry red face emoji.
Yeah, I think that this is a good way of going beyond what YouTube does with satisfaction surveys, where YouTube is collecting, like, one of the biggest metrics, in case you're not aware. Watch time is certainly one of them, but the one that doesn't get talked about nearly as much is satisfaction signals that YouTube is collecting from the satisfaction surveys, where they're literally just asking people, what did you think of this video? Give it a star rating. And why did you feel that? And they give you a series of emotions to select from in that survey. And they're collecting millions of those surveys, satisfaction surveys across YouTube every day. And they're really, really good at being able to predict based on how your viewing profile overlaps with another person's viewing profile, and they can start seeing how consistently, like, you're giving satisfaction with someone else's, and they can make really good predictions of other people who have a similar viewing profile. This is how satisfying this video will be for them, right? And now this is getting a little bit more granular. Instead of it being just about the video overall and it's something that people react to at the end after watching video. In other words, it interrupts their viewing session and causes them to stop and take an action before watching another video. Instead, this is a great way, I think, for YouTube to collect emotional satisfaction surveys that YouTube can collect from viewers while they're reacting or while they're watching the content, and getting a deeper emotional response. I don't know. I feel like, so one part of me is like, well, this could be so easy to game, where someone's just like going to get their audience to be like, everyone give the heart emoji at this, and this point, and let's see what happens. But on the other hand, I think there will be outliers who do that, but most people probably won't. And if most people don't, then I think the data might actually become valuable.
Yeah.
Which is why they're testing it, I think, right now. But yeah, any reactions to that?
I'd be curious how we're going to see that on the back end. In the actual data, where is that going to, is it going to be in the retention graph? Well, I mean, somewhere in there, where are we going to get that information?
I think it'll be in correspondence with the retention graph.
Yeah. And then how can we use that to help craft? I mean, I think it's more data. And I think that that's always a good thing. And especially around how people are interacting with our content, I think that's valuable information. But like Luke said, it is also something that can be gamed too. So
I'm not against it as much as I'm reserved, going, we'll see how it plays out, because I agree with Tim. I think it can be manipulated at one level, but maybe those are just outliers and most people won't do it. But I don't know. When they got rid of the dislike, I understand why. But now that they're offering other emotional reactions, I'm kind of like, maybe there's value in it. We'll see.
I'm curious, as a viewer, not as a creator, but as a viewer, if you guys are watching a video and you can see that at like 6 minutes and 58 seconds, there's just a ton of emotional reactions at that point in the video. Does that create more curiosity for you to stick with that video and see what happens? Or does that prompt you to be like, skip ahead and see what's
skip ahead 100%. So anytime there's somebody in the comments that goes, hey, intro's over at 2 minutes, like, that's helpful.
I feel like I would be more likely to be like,
creator.
I think I'd be more likely to hang in there because it makes me feel like there's a payoff if I do.
Mm-hmm. Same. Yeah. That's what I think I would do more often than not. Unless it was like a video that has like what Luke is talking about, like very specific segments, and they don't necessarily correspond. Maybe there's like 3 different stories in it, then I might skip ahead to that story, but like a news channel or something like that. So yeah, I might skip ahead to that story and not listen to all the other ones prior.
It strikes me like whenever Google search results will display chapters for you and go, I think this is the clip that you're looking for. And like as a viewer, that's really convenient. As a creator, it's just like, okay, thanks for taking my legs out from under me because, I might have given a value proposition before that point. I might have had a lot of other like time otherwise watched had they not suggested a chapter. So we'll see.
Yeah. Google search traffic almost never leads to channel growth in my experience.
Right.
Yeah. Every week, we like to wrap up these episodes with a YouTube power tip, something that you can take and use very practically on your channel today. And I want to introduce you as to the keyboard shortcuts I use the most on YouTube. As someone who spends a lot of time evaluating people's channels and doing consultations and watching content, I have found these keyboard shortcuts to be invaluable for me. I think the one that I use the most is the greater than symbol on and the lesser than symbol on the keyboard. So you hold down shift and hit greater than or less than, and that'll either speed up the content up to like 2x or slow it down. And so I find that often when there's just talking heads or people are just talking, I usually go to at least 1.5, but usually 2x. And I feels like I feel like it holds my attention better. I feel like I get through the content faster, and I use that one all the time. But I also go up here to the J, K, and L keys. The K key pauses and starts and stops the video. It pauses and plays the video. And then the J key will skip back 10 seconds, and the L key will skip forward 10 seconds. So sometimes I'll, shift greater than and speed it up a little bit and just get it like 2x. And then as I'm watching, I'm like, okay, I kind of get it. And I hit, just hit K or L. Usually I'm just hitting L. Sometimes I'm like, whoa, wait, how? I gotta go back. I'll hit J. And so I'll consume content really quickly and get an idea of what's happening in this content just by using those keyboard shortcuts. There's a whole bunch of other ones. If you're not familiar with them, I'll put a link in the show notes that you can go click on. That'll give you all of YouTube's keyboard shortcuts that you can use to better and more quickly navigate YouTube and save more time while consuming more content. I guess that's a good thing. But anyway, go check it out. Thank you guys for hanging out with us for another Video Creators Podcast episode. And I'll see you guys again next week. See you then. Bye.